Welcome back from the 2024 National Sweepstakes Convention in Las Vegas. This is your convention wrap-up. So, headed out to Las Vegas. First time we've been back there in 8 years. 8 years ago, Donna, who was the host again this time, hosted again this year. Last time was at the Tuscany. This time was at the Horseshoe. And I always love conventions. I always love going and seeing people, meeting new people. We had a ton of newbies this time. That was one of my biggest takeaways, probably about 30 or so. So it was great to see some new people out there getting involved, seeing what it's all about. Because conventions are definitely a breed of their own. You're with like-minded people who enter and win a lot of sweepstakes on a regular basis. So it's very different. They did a kickoff party as usual. The first night, which was on Thursday night. Thursday night was the pick prize. And I ended up winning a DraftKings prize pack. So a lot of you guys know I'm a big fan of DraftKings, love them. They've been very good to me over the years. So there was a prize pack that included a full-size football. I actually don't have a full-size DraftKings football. I have a lot of swag, but I kind of wanted that, so I was happy to win that. The next day was Friday, was a panel, and the panel included other newsletters. Chrissy from Sweep Sheet, Rachel from Sweeping America, and then the contest queen Carolyn and myself all formed a panel to discuss sweepstakes and take your questions. We did have a little fun trivia game at the beginning. Followed by, again, various questions from people in the audience. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the panel to get a different perspective on things. All of us will tell you we're not 1000% always right. A lot of it is our opinion based on our own experiences. And then it's up to you to make your own opinions and, your judgment calls sometimes based on your own experiences. So that's just how those things work. On that afternoon, Jody spoke. Jody is from Illinois. I've met Jody. I've known her for a long time. She spoke on kindness and sweeping and some of her winning stories. First-time speaker. We had a bunch of first-time speakers. I think I was only one of the few repeat speakers who normally speak at these conventions. So it was nice to get, again, different perspective and different views from different people. On Saturday, the morning speaker was myself. A lot of you were surprised when it ended up actually being me and Lee. Lee stepped in and spoke about the other side of sweeping and what it's like dealing with me and some of the things I put her through. I know a lot of you have requested to see that again. It's not taped. None of the hosts are taped. So we'll have to figure out something, maybe redo it and then put it up on video on YouTube so you guys can all see it. No promises on that. We're working on it. Saturday evening is the banquet. Saturday afternoon, there was a speaker about the IRS and some of the tax guidelines and stipulations. Was very interesting. Saturday night was the banquet. That was where the big cash was given away. There were two $10,000 winners, and among some other big prizes. Some of my takeaways though from this was what my favorite parts were, and I include them in tonight's issue, but I wanted to elaborate on them a little bit. One of my number one favorite things was lunch. We got surprised with lunch. It was all paid for, taken care of by the convention on Friday, and it was delicious. It was just cold cuts and sandwiches and whatnot, but it was absolutely fantastic. It was a really nice surprise. I think a lot of us appreciated it and really liked it. I mentioned two $10,000 winners. So when it was announced there was going to be one $10,000 winner, Donna failed to mention there was actually two $10,000 winners. So two people walked away with $10,000 as the big winner from the convention. So that was kind of a really cool surprise. I mentioned about the newbies, 30 plus newbies this year. That's fantastic. A lot of people have asked the total. I don't know what the total was. I know it was in the 400 some range, but I'm not sure where that number lies, so. The other thing I really liked personally was how they did the after party, what's known before as upgrades. They did a all-in after party, and what I like about this was a lot of people felt they were forced to go all in and be part of this after party. But that was the nice thing. You weren't. This was totally separate. And this, they did some things for the banquet and dinner and some of the drawings, but then after that was when the after party was. So if you chose not to do the after party, you could go have dinner or see a show, whatever you wanted outside of that. So that's what's was really good about it. And they are doing that again next year. There is some legality that comes into it, and that's the whole reasoning behind some of that. But I personally chose not to participate in the after party. I actually did stay there. I was helping out and helping drawing names, but I chose to skip it. So don't feel, if you're on a budget or you're looking at that, you don't need to do that to have a great time at the convention. It's a bonus and extra time. So some things I got. I always get cool little gifts from people, so I thought I'd show some. Let's start with next year. We are going to Little Rock, Arkansas. And some of you guys can see that. I got a really cool mug for next year's convention. It was brought to me. It is August 7th through 10th. You can check out all the details on the iWin website. It will redirect you to the Little Rock website. Again, I do not run the conventions. I am not in charge of them. Shauna will be the host next year, so direct all your questions to her. Registration's open. Hotel registration will start, I believe it's either this weekend or early next week. So I received the contest queen always brings me some goodies. So I have some, fairy dust, I have magnets, some Lucky Charms. She also brought me a bunch of candies. So shout out and thanks to her. Another person brought me same thing, another little gift bag. And it had some various lucky tokens in it, but it had one that was pretty funny, was a yes or no coin. So you can flip it. If you can't decide, yes or no. Show me I could use it in Discord to answer some questions. I figured that was really funny. Some of you guys asked about the bags. These were the bags this year. So it's a little bit hard to see. But no, I did not design the bags. I know I've designed some of them, but this one was designed by the convention, given out. A person actually won this, was in their lucky stuff and gave it to me. I didn't see these, but these were from last year's convention. I don't know who made them, but they're kind of cool. I wanted it to hang up in my office. So you can see it's from the Scottsdale convention last year. I don't remember seeing these or where they were, so. Call by Win was well represented, and someone made bells for the 8 p.m. group. And I asked if I could have one for my office because I think they're super cool. There were some really cool shirts that were made from iWin, as always. Someone made me a Lucky Duck flag. I've put it in my bin of pennants that are on my desk from various things and trips that I've went on. Then this was probably my favorite thing. So this was from Geneva. Geneva is 10 years old, and her mom's an iWin member. And she decided I needed an iWin contest friendship bracelet. So if you saw me wearing this around throughout the weekend, that's what this was. It was made by 10-year-old Geneva. So hopefully, if you're watching or your mom shows you this, thank you very much. I thought it was super cool and probably the coolest thing that someone handed me at the convention this year. Sunday was the final day of the convention. Sunday's kind of just a quick little wrap-up day. There are some prizes. I did win one session prize. I won some men's fragrance pack, like deodorant, body wash, things like that. So definitely something I'll use. So I enjoyed that. They did announce that in 2 years, We'll be going back to Scottsdale for the third time, hosted by the Fry family for the 2026 National Sweepstakes Convention. No dates. Typically, dates are announced closer to next year's, but they have said that you can plan again on summer, so summer months, June, July, August, but they don't have official dates as of yet. A lot of people have always asked, who decides these, who hosts conventions, why can't it be here? What about this city? I want it in my city. These are all just volunteers, so they're not done to make money. They try and make it as affordable as possible, but you got to understand that if I were going to host a convention, which I'm not, I would probably have it near Orlando. Why? Because I live here. It's much easier to host it. So it's easy to say, hey, you know what? I'd like it in Chicago or Nashville or Seattle or New York or wherever, but you have to have someone who typically lives there who wants to host it and who's willing to sign off on this. There are some contracts involved. You have a hotel contract that you negotiate. You sign for. Some hotels want a large amount of money as a deposit up front. Others you can kind of explain that this is a convention, the way it works, money comes in, but they'll normally then have you do a pretty in-depth credit check. There's a lot of idiosyncrasies to this. And then once you have done this, you then kind of propose it to the people who have ran these in the past. And it's talked about and discussed to kind of see who is best to host it in normally 2 years out. So in other words, if you were looking right now, you'd want to start thinking about 2027. You have all until next August to come up with a plan, figure out a hotel, get a rough idea of contract and pricing so that you could show up in Little Rock and say, hey, look, I want to run in 2027. Here's where I want to run it. Here's what I'm thinking for rates. Here's what I'm thinking for hotel. Here's what the rates are going to be, and having a plan of action to do it. It is a ton of work. Most people don't do it on their own. Most people do it with a group or a club. A lot of sweepstakes clubs decides to host it together. So just as an example. But check out the conventions. If you've never been to one, they're a ton of fun. I can't say it enough. Again, thank you for all the support. I loved meeting you guys. I loved iWin on Friday and seeing all the different shirts and swag and things that you guys came up with on your own. It's always super cool. But thanks for tuning in, and see you again soon.